as actors? But you all are, in one way or the other, what, directors? Costume designers? Stage managers? So all of you are, in some form or fashion, into the theater, right? Now let me ask you a question. I don't care who comes up and answers first, but why in the world do you want to do this? What do you want to be an actor? What? Anybody? Why in the world, of all the careers, would you want to be an actor?
I think acting is the most honest career you can choose because you're actually becoming other people's honest lives. You're living their honest lives. And so I believe with all the crazy stuff with politics and surgeons and doctors and all this insurance and healthcare, blah, blah, blah. I think acting, you're not really hurting anybody. You're inspiring somebody.
So you don't mind being poor?
No. I'm poor all my life, so I hustle.
So you have no aspirations of becoming a big star celeb?
If I do, I will love it. But if I don't, I'll be content with what I get.
Okay, how many of you are doing it to become big star celebs? No, I like the honesty. How many of you really want to become big star celebs? Not hoping it happened, but you're doing it because of it. You want to be a big star celeb. Okay. You're in for a rude awakening. You know that, right? Yeah. You know you're in for a rude awakening. Being a big star celeb. And let me tell you why. And here's the realities of the business. Hollywood always has and has had since the first camera rolled some 75 years ago. Hollywood has always had 85% unemployment with a SAG union. 85% unemployment. That means only 15% of the actors that go to LA work. They're the ones that pay all the dues. The other 85% struggle. End up back home with mom and dad. End up waiting tables, end up doing any kind of thing. The DGA, the Directors Guild, for all you aspiring directors, 85% unemployment again. She's already part of the 85% unemployment because she's asleep. Yeah, I roll that way, okay? The WGA, 85% unemployment. 85%, I'm only kidding. 85% unemployment for writers. Now, you say to yourself, well, how can they call themselves unions when 85% of their members are unemployed? 85%, that's what you're facing. I was only kidding, sweetheart. I understand. You're in theater school. You get tired. I did the same thing many times too. So I understand. I'm only kidding. Playing with you. So you got to enter into this thing. You can't enter into this entertainment world as wanting to be a celebrity or thinking you're going to be a big star. That happens to an infantile percentage of people. You got to be extremely lucky and well connected for that to happen. To be an overnight star. And for you black actors, you know that ain't gonna happen. So that's the reality of it. So what do? You have to enter into this business infused and imbued with a sense of being an artist. An artist. Not an actor, not an entertainer. An artist. Because as an artist, as you mentioned, yeah, it's fun to play other people. It's fun to, to be a giver and all that. But what do artists do? Artists change the world. That's what an artist does. And if you enter into it that way, that's your task, to change the world. People come into the theater already thinking one way about life in the world. They see you guys doing a play, and if you do the play badly, they leave thinking the same thing about life in the world. But if you leave an ounce of your internal essence on the stage floor every night, you will change somebody's opinion about life in the world. You would have, in your performance, affected them so much that they discover or rediscover their own humanity. That's how big and idealistic being an artist is. Y'all hear me? I'm a little surprised. Now, look, listen, I'm a real guy. I'm a little surprised, but I'm catching some bad vibes. I'm catching some people who, if you don't want to really be in here and listen to me, go back to class. I mean, really, go back to class. If you ain't feeling it, I can understand. I can understand if you ain't feeling it. I'm just trying to simply spend my time here, and my time is precious, laying something on you that hopefully it'll do some good to you along the way in your careers. But if it don't, that's cool too. And I'm the same person one day you guys are going to be auditioning for. And I got a long memory and a good one. I can say, wasn't you at Ellington in March of 2011? And weren't you asleep? I'm still playing with you. I'm still playing. I got somebody to spring off, so don't worry about it. I'm gonna cash you. When I see you, you got a part. All right? But no, I'm serious. You know, it's I started my career unlike any other actor that I know. The first time I acted, I was in the penitentiary. The very first time I did a play, I was in the penitentiary. I had never read a play before, I had never acted in a play, I had never directed a play. I was probably a little older than some of you at that time, but a girlfriend of mine sent me an anthology of playwrights. And I read a play while I was in prison, and it was so hilarious that I said when I got out of isolation, which I was sentenced to isolation for 6 days, when I got out of isolation, I was going to get the craziest guys I knew in the prison and start a drama. So I picked 10 of the most knuckleheaded guys I knew in the prison. And we put on this play called Day of Absence by Douglas Turner. And when in the middle of that play, in performing the play, it had dawned on me that I had just discovered what I was born to do while I'm on this planet. I had just discovered it in the middle of the penitentiary, in front of this captive audience, pun intended. And I said, you know what? I've just discovered what I was born to do, so now all of that negative stuff that I was into, and I spent most of my life in and out of institutions, up until 1976. From 12 years old to 26 years old, in and out of prisons. I said, now I found my purpose. And not once did I say, man, I want to be like Sidney Poitier. I simply said, you know what? I just want to be an artist. If I'm fortunate enough to earn a living, a meager living, any kind of living at doing something I enjoy doing, that's all I'm asking for. And as you mentioned, if it does happen with all the trimmings, with all the celebrity status, then fine, I ain't gonna turn that down. But the reason I did it was to save myself, first from a life of in and out of penitentiaries, and in and out of trouble, and in and out of violence. Save myself first, rediscover my own humanity, then I could give it back to someone else. And so every time I do a play, every time I direct a project, that's in my head. How can I change the world? And that's a huge ideal, but it's an ideal you have to live by to be an artist. Now, as young folks, I mean, you know, times have changed, needless to say, when I was you guys' age, and you're faced with a whole different set of circumstances because you're constantly bombarded with bullshit. Yeah, you are. You're constantly bombarded with bullshit. Even some of your own cultural bullshit. You're constantly bombarded. So it's a me generation instead of a we generation.